If you're building for the web today, you've got a big choice to make, React or Svelte. But, this isn't just about picking a tool. It's really about picking a philosophy. And that choice, it has some massive implications for how you build. So let's break down what makes these two so fundamentally different. At its very core, the whole debate boils down to one simple question. Do you want a library that works its magic inside the user's browser? Or do you want a compiler that does all the heavy lifting before your code even ships? This single difference, well, it changes absolutely everything.
You see, both React and Svelte are trying to accomplish the exact same thing: build fast, modern, and interactive user interfaces. But how they get there couldn't be more different. And those differences, they have huge consequences for performance, for the developer experience, and even for how you build your team.
All right, let's start with the reigning champion, the 800-pound gorilla in the room, React. For years now, it has been the go-to choice for building pretty much everything on the web, and for some very, very good reasons. It is powerful, it's flexible, and it's backed by a truly massive community. So what is React exactly? Well, to put it simply, React is a JavaScript library. It's not a compiler. Facebook released it way back in 2013, and its whole purpose is to help developers build user interfaces by breaking them down into these small, manageable, reusable pieces that we call components. Now, React's secret sauce, the thing that made it so revolutionary, is something called the virtual DOM. Think of it like a blueprint of the actual screen that lives in the computer's memory. When something changes in your app, React first updates this blueprint. Then it compares it to the real screen, and it calculates the most efficient way to make that change. And the key thing to remember is that all of this work, all this calculation, happens at runtime on your user's device. And this is why React is so incredibly popular. I mean, it's been battle-tested in absolutely massive applications like Facebook and Airbnb. The ecosystem is unmatched. You can find a library for literally anything. There is an enormous pool of developers to hire from, and it gives you the flexibility you need for even the most complex projects. Okay, so that's React. Now, let's talk about something completely different. Enter Svelte, the challenger. Its philosophy is incredibly simple. The framework should do its work, and then it should just get out of the way. It should disappear. So, unlike React, Svelte is a compiler. Here's what that means. It takes the code that you write, and during your build process, before you ever send it to the user, it transforms it into these tiny, highly optimized vanilla JavaScript files. So by the time the code actually reaches your user, the framework itself is gone. There's no heavy library to download and run. You hear this quote a lot, and it comes from the Svelte team itself. It just perfectly captures the feeling so many developers have when they use it. They really see it as a return to simplicity, something that focuses on developer joy and gets rid of all that unnecessary complexity. And that feeling, it comes from this core promise. Svelte claims that you can achieve the exact same results as other frameworks, but with significantly less code. And that's a big deal. It means faster development and way easier maintenance. So let's see what that actually looks like in practice. Okay, let's look at a super simple component, just a counter that increments when you click a button. On the left, you've got Svelte. Just look at it. It's basically a script tag and some plain HTML. Now look at the right. That's React. You have to import the library, you have to use a special function, a hook, called useState just to manage the count, and you're writing in JSX. You can literally see that less code promise in action right here. And this focus on the developer experience, it runs deep. Svelte just feels familiar, It also comes with really important features like accessibility checks and progressive enhancement, which is the ability for a site to work even if JavaScript is turned off, built right in from the start. All right, we've talked philosophy, we've talked about the developer experience, but now it's time for the main event, a head-to-head comparison, where we let the numbers do the talking. First up, bundle size. This is how much framework code the user actually has to download just to see your app. React's runtime library comes in at about 42 kilobytes. Svelte, a tiny 1.6 kilobytes. I mean, that is a staggering difference that directly impacts how fast your site feels, especially if you're on a slower connection. And it's not just the framework that's smaller, it's the code you write too. Studies have shown that, on average, developers write about 40% less code in Svelte to build the exact same features. Just think about that. That's a huge boost in productivity. So when you put all this together, the performance benchmarks are pretty clear. Svelte apps tend to load about 30% faster, they use around 20% less memory, and they update the screen more quickly because remember, they're not running all those calculations through a virtual DOM in the browser.
Okay, so Svelte is smaller, it's faster, and you write less code. It's a slam dunk, right? Well, not so fast. Here is the trade-off, and it is a big one: the job market. Right now, there are over 110,000 open positions for React developers. For Svelte, just under 1,000. This shows that while Svelte might win on technical benchmarks, React wins overwhelmingly when it comes to the ecosystem and hiring.
So what does this all mean for you? Look, there is no single winner here. There's no right or wrong answer. The right choice depends entirely on your project, your team, and what you're ultimately trying to optimize for. You should probably choose React if you're building a large-scale enterprise application or if you need access to that massive ecosystem of libraries. It's the right choice for teams that plan on scaling by hiring quickly. Its stability and that huge talent pool, those are its killer features.
On the other hand, you should definitely choose Svelte if raw performance is your absolute top priority. It's perfect for startups that need to move incredibly fast, projects where every single kilobyte counts, and for teams that really value developer productivity and, well, happiness. So in the end, the choice really comes down to this one question. Are you optimizing for the stability and the vast resources of the largest ecosystem? Or are you optimizing for the raw speed and the elegant simplicity of the fastest possible experience? The answer to that question will tell you exactly which philosophy is right for you.